What's happening, man? Boss Golf back at you guys with another talk video. Recently I had a chance to play some Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. I want to give you guys my thoughts and talk with you guys in the comment section about your thoughts as well when it comes to this game, at least as far as what the beta presented. Now, before NT came out, I did have some previous experience with Final Fantasy Dissidia, or at least the Dissidia games before. At least one of them, excuse me. I've played the first one, and the second one was had the gameplay mechanics as the first one. I think the only difference was that the second one actually had tag team partners and extra characters than the first. Other than that, they were fundamentally the same games. But Final Fantasy Dissidia was probably, in my opinion, the best PSP game that I've played next to the Mega Man what is it? Mega Man X Hunter X or something like that. It was the Mega Man X remake game. For those that know about the Mega Man X series, y'all know what I'm talking about. But besides that game, Final Fantasy Dissidia was probably the best game, in my opinion, the best game on PSP. It was a really fun game. I liked the battle mechanics. I liked the gameplay story was well constructed. It was really good, considering they threw all these characters into one story and made it work. All these characters from different universes. There was a lot of content in the game. There was a lot of content to unlock and things like that. There were some things that you could buy, I guess, as DLC from this online store content, but I never used the internet on my PSP, so I never got a chance. The only thing I seen was you could download Sephiroth's Kingdom Hearts costume, which I think is one of his better costumes he has. But other than that, everything else was pretty cool, and I did overall like the content of the game. Then we get to Dissidia NT, and we hear about the announcement of this game. Of course, being a fan of the Dissidia series before, my initial hype was it was shot through the roof, because I was like, oh snap, you're taking something from the PSP game and now you're bringing it to the consoles and arcades. It came out on arcades before the consoles, and so I was like, oh, this is cool. Come to find out, this is not the experience at all. And I was noticing that as I was seeing gameplay from not only in the arcades over in Japan, but gameplay that we were getting ready to come over to home console. And then I got that experience playing this game for myself during the beta. First of all, the gameplay as a whole of the game is not the same at all as it was with Dissidia. The mechanics and the moves and things are not only are they like drastically different, but everything is toned down. Everything is more than half of what it used to be in the PSP game. And to me, that says a lot. And I scratch my forehead on that one, is because you would think with a handheld, going from a handheld to a console, that almost everything would be like 10 times better. The graphics, the gameplay, the cinematics, the story was already great, so I mean that would have stayed the same, but everything else would have been the same. Instead, it's kind of like they took away from what they had in the PSP games. Now, I do get that this game is catered towards the brawling style system of fighting games, which I'm not too sure about. The only brawler that I've seen that's actually been like super successful is Super Smash Bros. And we all know that's a very different. I feel like that game is in its own type of category of fighting games, or games in general, just because of how unique it is. But they cast this as a brawler style type video game, and they're trying something new, and it's team based and everything. And I think that's where this game went wrong. I think that's where this game fell short, is them trying to, instead of it being like one-on-one, or even if it wasn't one-on-one and them doing the team-based thing, they didn't keep the gameplay mechanics the same. And so that was a big turn off for me. And going back on the team thing, the fact that everybody has as far as the team goes, everybody has like kind of like a team health bar, and if you lose that health bar, if 3 teammates get capped, then that's like game over. And the matches that I played online, they didn't last very long, and some of them didn't feel that satisfying, like even when winning, because it's like you'd win and be like, okay, cool, but then it's like, I wish the battles would last longer. You barely get a chance to actually see these characters' movesets. You barely get a chance to actually like form something with these characters within the game, because everything runs too fast and things like that. So I think that's it. Going along with like playing with other people and playing online, the netcode was not that good. I've seen other gameplay of this when it came to the closed beta, and people that played the closed beta, I've heard them talking about, well, compared to my previous experience, this is significantly better than what the closed beta was during the online matches. At least for me, and my experience, and some of the people that I talked to that was in the live chat when I played this, the online experience was kind of trash compared to other games that I've played and things like that. Almost on the same level as Street Fighter V's online. I had some good matches in there, and when they were good, they were really good. But majority of the matches I had were where the connection was it was really choppy. It was hella bad. Comparing that connection to I was about to say Street Fighter 5 again. Compare that connection to Dragon Ball FighterZ connection. When I played that, I had some bad matches, but fuck, they were few. They were very few compared to all the matches that I had. The majority of that time, I enjoyed it because the online was good and the online was stable. So the stability of the online, at least for the beta, for me, wasn't all that good, which pushed my thoughts about it down even that much further. What else can we talk about? As far as concerning the beta, the story mode, one thing I didn't understand or didn't really like, I guess, is the fact that there's this thing in a game called Memoria, and you get that through either playing online, ranking up certain levels, or playing versus the AI in the gauntlet battles. And Memoria, you can use that to unlock progress within the story. To my understanding, it's either you unlock cutscenes or you unlock progress within the story. Having the story locked behind you having to go do other things in the game, especially for people that just want the story, I don't know if that's kind of like a good choice or a good idea, because I don't know, with me, when I play a game that's story based and I pop the game in, one of the first things I want to go do, other than check out what the options are inside of the game, is go directly to the story, see what the story is all about. If I can't do that, or only have a certain amount of Memoria, and I have to go do other things, that kind of like tweaks my excitement for the game story a little bit. So I don't know, that was awkward. That was kind of off to me, that you had to do that you had to unlock stuff to go unlock the story mode. Hope that maybe that's just for the beta, maybe that's just for some of the cutscenes. Even if it's still kind of off-putting. And I think one of the biggest things that really got me questioning this game is the fact that there are loot boxes in the game, and they hide it behind this thing called treasure. And then what it is you get treasure by once again playing against the AI, doing training, or going online and playing against other characters and things like that. And everybody knows the spiel about loot boxes. It's something that isn't it's an unethical practice when it comes to video games, when it comes to things in general. And see, the thing about this game and the thing that they have about FighterZ, because I believe this game and FighterZ is doing the same thing when it comes to loot boxes, to my attention, to my knowledge, is that they're making it so, in loot boxes are in-game currency and things like that. And even with Dragon Ball FighterZ, they've been doing in-game currency loot boxes, I believe, since Guilty Gear, based off the information from what I've seen. But when it really comes down to it, all they're really doing, once again, as I talked about this in like a previous video, is they're kind of like testing the waters They're kind of like tiptoeing around everything. They're pissing in the pool after hours. They're seeing what all, like, oh, if we, you know, let's throw this in here and see how they react to it, type of deal. Kind of like how I felt about Sonic. What is that goddamn game called? The recent Sonic game that just came out. How they had the free DLC. It's kind of like, I don't understand the point of free DLC if it makes absolutely no sense. Why not just put these items in the game to be unlocked? That's my whole thing about loot boxes and everything. Why hide it behind this randomized thing where you have to get currency? And then the thing about the currency inside of the game is that you either have to do multiple things at once in the game, which is it's kind of a good, there's a good to it. It gets you wanting to play other modes of the game, but it's almost kind of like your motive for playing other modes in the game is so you can get treasure to unlock shit, to go play other modes of the game to get treasure to unlock shit, instead of having it to be all the shit that's in treasure and all the shit that you can unlock. Why not have that behind like hidden achievements in the games of how it used to be? Loot boxes will never, that shit will never make sense, because especially when you do it on the system of it's in-game currency, you don't really have to pay if you don't want to or anything like that. That makes me feel like they're just tiptoeing. They're testing whatever. They're testing to see what people do, like what everybody's reactions to it will be. And then if it goes well in the future, like this shit has happened with almost every game we like. There's been something that's been pushed in the game that nobody's liked, and it'll be soft, it'll be light at first, and then as future installments comes out, whatever that thing was gets worse and worse and worse. Or as other games come out, whatever that thing is gets worse and worse and worse. One of the examples of that is the loot boxes in Overwatch. We've seen what happened in Overwatch, and now it escalated to what happened with Battlefront 2. And even that's still a case, because they're planning on putting them back in the game, but revamped or reworked. So that was a big turn down for me, is the treasure inside of the game. But sometimes things like that can be overlooked if the rest of the game as a package looks better than the one piece of bullshit that's sitting right for everybody's faces. And that's kind of the case how I'm feeling about Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's not how I'm feeling about Dissidia. I feel Dissidia, for my final thoughts about this game, I feel Dissidia is for you if you've never played Final Fantasy Dissidia before. If you haven't played the PSP game, or if you haven't planned on playing this PSP game, this game is a good game for you. It's something new, it's something fresh, it can be fun, I can see the potential fun behind it, but for me, the overall thing about it is, games like this, I wish they would have called it something else. I wish they would have called it Final Fantasy Tag Team Battle, because when you put like a name, we've talked about this plenty of times before, when you put a name behind something like that or something new, knowing it's going to be something completely different, knowing that you might feel iffy about what the fans of the previous series thinks about this, like it kind of, I'm trying to find the word for it. It fucking sucks. Like, why, if you name it something else, then my expectation for that game is, oh, this is something completely new. It's not Dissidia. If it had been Final Fantasy Universe Tag Battle or something like that, there'd be a whole new type of expectation or experience behind that game, rather than naming it Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. I look at the game and I see Dissidia. Oh, okay, so we're gonna get the same thing we've had in the previous games before, upgraded on consoles, brought back in a new way, nothing taken back, except they bring this game, everything is changed, everything is reworked, the stuff that worked and made this game what it was is taken out and it's brought back in as something completely new. So that's how I feel about it. That's my thoughts on this game. It's based on from what I've played on the beta and from like all the information and all the gameplay and trailers that I've seen in the past before. If you haven't played any of the Dissidias on the PSP, I think this game will be for you. Or if you like brawlers or anything like that, I think this game will be for you, because it can be fun. The treasure stuff, it can be looked around, especially if it's only in-game currency. Or if you're just like a like diehard Final Fantasy fan and you want all of their shit, this is the game for you. But my opinion, I wish if they would have kept the battle mechanics the same, I probably would have been one of the ones that would have had a hard time picking between this and Dragon Ball Fighters. Even though I still in the end probably would have picked Dragon Ball Fighters, the choice would have been that much more difficult. Now it's just like, this is probably a game I'd pick up at $20 when it's discounted or some shit like that. Other than that, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below about Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. Have you played it? Did you get the chance to get your hands on the beta? Are you going to get it this 30th? Let me know all that shit, man, and we'll chat it up in the comments. Other than that, you already know what it is. Boss Golf, Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. Make sure I keep them schlongs on, them clips tight, and I will see you to the hoes on the flip one. Peace!